RealAgriculture.com's coverage of Farm Progress 2013 is brought to you by Syngenta Canada, bringing plant potential to life.
So I'm here with Garth Massey, who's a corporate agronomist for Morris, and they're launching into some new products today. So can you tell us a bit about the Razor?
This is a Razor disc, and it's a bit of a new concept. So we've got a brand new opener design, and when we went about designing this machine, we wanted to really focus on ease of use, and there's a few things about disc drills that have been troublesome in earlier designs, and maintaining consistent penetration and doing good sealing and getting good soil to seed contact so you get strong, consistent emergence, I think have been problems in disc machines in previous years. So this design, we wanted to really address that and try and get the machine simplified so that we had less working parts and make it easier to set and use. So those are kind of the drives and the focus behind running it. So maybe we'll walk around to the side of the opener so you can see how it's put together. So one of the things that's different right away you'll notice about this Razor disc drill, we're using hydraulics to apply down pressure rather than having springs or having or other systems. So we're actually we're fairly fortunate. We developed a hydraulic system, a passive hydraulic system with an accumulator to hold the pressure constant, so you don't have to have live hydraulic fluid running through the machine to keep the openers in the ground all the time. That was first developed on the Contour. It worked well on the Contour, so we've brought that idea forward and used it on this Razor disc as well. Another thing that we liked as well was the parallel linkage. The parallel linkage worked quite nicely on the Contour drill. We've carried that forward onto this Razor, and there's a couple of reasons why we like the parallel linkage on this disc. And I guess one, farmers have to lift their openers and transport it, and when you've got parallel linkage versus a swing arm, it allows the opener to stay more compact and it lifts up nicer for a travel height. So it lifts up quite nicely when you're on the road traveling. The other thing that's a nice feature about it is when you've got a parallel linkage, it allows the angle of the scraper to stay right where we want it. So we're always going to be having that scraper angle stay the same, and that helps keep your placement of seed and keeps your seed bed that the disc is cutting very consistent. So those are probably the compelling reasons for the parallel linkage. What makes this disc really unique is that it's on a walking beam. So you'll notice from the point of attachment with your gauge wheel here in the disc, there's basically a beam connecting the disc to the packer, and your pivot point is right here between, roughly in the middle. So when the opener is pushed down, and as the disc rotates through the soil, we found with former designs and just having a swing arm rather coming down and nothing to keep the disc anchored, it will tend to want to rotate its way out of the soil at higher speeds. And when you've got this walking beam, when the disc wants to rise up out of the ground, it has to act against this packer wheel, which is holding it down and into the ground. So we feel that one of the key advantages of this particular machine is going to be it's going to maintain its consistent depth control at higher rates of travel, and that'll probably separate it from other designs on the market. Some of the feedback that we had from farmers when we were initially developing this machine, they wanted to have ease of setting, and if we look around this other side, we also borrowed an idea from the Contour drill. And basically there's just a little pin that you remove, and you're able to there's a depth cam, and you just freely rotate it like I am with my hand here, and each notch that you put in is 1/4 of an inch, and that's how you set the machine. Other feedback that we've had from growers is they wanted to have a little bit more space from rank to rank so they could get in for servicing of the machines. Some of the machines out there in the market and earlier generation ones, things were very compact and farmers had difficulty getting in to service things. So that's built into the frame design, so there's a little bit more room to get in and out of it. When you're using these machines under wet conditions, there's a tendency for soil to come off. It gets scraped off of this gauge wheel, which controls your depth, and it'll build up on the inside of this wheel here. So oftentimes, unless you have a spoke design like this, it will build up, and then you'll have to stop the machine and clean that out. But when you've got a spoked wheel design like this, under wet conditions, any soil that builds up will flow out of here. And that's something that was recommended to us by disc users that we consulted with, and that's something we wanted to introduce right away. So this 4.5-inch gauge wheel does a nice job of staying on top of the ground. Very low disturbance machine, and under wet conditions it'll shed the mud. So it's probably going to work under a broader range of conditions because of some of those features.
Can you tell us a bit about the width of the equipment?
Of course. Introducing this line, we're going to have 3 different sizes. There's going to be a 40-foot, a 50-foot, and a 60-foot size. And there'll be a range of row spacings to go with. So we're going to offer a 7.5-inch row spacing, a 10-inch row spacing, and a 15-inch row spacing. And it'll all be based on 2 ranks. Another thing that we've developed, it's a new frame design from earlier prototyping, and our plan is for farmers that want to put fertilizer between their rows in a dedicated band, they'll be able to put a 3rd row on the back of the machine here. And the fertilizer coulters will be identical to these row units you see here, so it'll be the same opener.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.